So hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. So today we are mainly going to learn about the first lesson of geography, that is resources and development. So this is your first lesson of your geography. So today we are going to actually discuss about the entire lesson. So in one video I'll try to include all the important points only, and also I'll try my level best in order to make this video very much short also. Okay, we're also going to discuss the map based question. What are the important questions which actually come from this lesson in perspective, in actually understanding of the map also. Okay, so we'll actually try to learn about all the important concepts related to these lesson, that is resources and development. So we are going to have complete understanding about this entire lesson, that is resources and development. Okay, today in this class. So now let us try to understand first of all what is actually a resource. Resources are nothing but which can actually satisfy the human needs. For example, anything it may be. For example, it is anything iron, or it is any furniture, it is any wood, or in anything food, or anything, any substance which will actually help in satisfying of the human needs, which will actually help in the making the human life more better, more comfortable. Those kind of things are actually referred to as the resources. So as you can see, everything that is available in the environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, satisfy the human needs, then it is called as a resource. That is a human resources, then it is called. Okay, then if you see here, these resources will actually become possible. See, when these resources can actually become possible, only they are actually when they are provided with the technology. So because technology plays a very important role in the extraction of the resources. For example, if you see anything also, if you want to extract, if you want to get any iron particles also, you must actually extract the iron particles, right? Extract these iron particles from the ground, right? So that is very much important. That means technology is important. So what is actually technology? Technology is nothing but the machinery which you actually take for extracting of these resources. And simple extraction process will actually not help in getting of the resources, because if you actually get these resources, for example iron ore, if you say, this is the form of an ore. Ore is nothing which is having multiple minerals. This has to be processed. This has to undergo some different kind of steps, the filtration process, the purification process, in order to get the final process, that is iron. In order to get us the final product, that is iron, has actually must go some different processes. So different steps it must actually undergo. So that is actually possible with the help of the institutions. Institutions are nothing but with the help of these industries. So these industries will actually make sure that the processing of these resources will actually take place, and also it will make, and also the processing will take place, and the byproduct which you actually get is going to be a more useful product also. So that is our main aim. So with the help of the nature is nothing which will actually provide us all the raw materials. Then with the help of the technology which actually help us in the extraction process. Okay, and the institutions, that is the people, institutions and the people and the industries will actually help us in the making the resources more useful and in more satisfying of the human needs also. Okay, then if you see here, so the process of this transformation of the resources is available, will only be in the environment, is only possible with the help of the interactive relations. Interactive relationship is nothing but it is a kind of interdependent relationship on each other. As you can see here, so each resource is very much important. So if you see physical nature is very much important, technology is very much important, institutions, with any of these one thing is also missing, then we can actually not make the resources more useful. So if any one thing will also miss, then we cannot make the things more useful, more better. We cannot actually, with these resources, they cannot help in the process of making them and satisfying of the human needs. We cannot use them. Therefore, all these three things are very much important. Okay. Then why actually resources are actually important? Resources are very important because they actually help in the human activities. See, if you see for example various human activities, whether it is for the food you take, food we want different kind of crops and everything. But those are also the resources. Everything is considered to be a resource. Everything is considered to be the resources which are actually found in our environment. This will actually help in the human activities, that is for the various production processes, that is the machineries. For machinery making also you need the resources, like that is iron also you need for the process of making of the machinery. You need the stainless steel or any other thing, not only metals, maybe anything, or the petroleum, diesel, everything will come under the resources only. So why? So only when these resources will actually undergo some process, they'll actually undergo some process. When this manufacturing will actually happen to these resources, they're actually turning into more useful products. For example, if you see here, as I already told you, as I already told you about this what will actually say about this iron ore. So iron ore is actually being present, so it must actually undergo some process, right? So after the process, what happens, the final product which we actually get is going to have a more value also. In this way we are actually transforming the resources also. Okay, now let us try to understand on what basis we are actually being classifying the resources. So first thing, on the basis of the origin. Origin is nothing where they are actually found. Means whether it is a biotic, whether they are living or non-living. Based on that, we are mainly going to categorize into biotic and abiotic resources. And based on the exhaustibility. Exhaustibility is nothing but based on the limitless in the nature. Based on the kind of resources which are available in the nature, means how much, in what quantity they are actually available in that nature. So based on that, that is based on exhaustibility, that is the quantity they are classified as renewable and the non-renewable energy resources. And based on the ownership is nothing who are actually owning these kind of resources. For example, they may be individual resources, they may be ownership, community resources, national resources, and the international resources also. For example, all the kind of houses which you own are actually the individual resources. Then all the kind of burial grounds, if you see, hospitals, if you see, then playgrounds, parks, public parks, and all these other community resources. All the people belonging to that respective community can actually use them, and also people from various places also can actually use those resources. That is community resources. National resources are nothing but the resources which are available for the entire country. For example, if you see, if anything, for example, all the forests, all the kind of institutions, public buildings and everything are under the control of government. That is a national. Means the entire country is actually under the control of the government. So if they want to construct any buildings or any railways or any bridges also, they can easily take the land from the people and they can easily construct. So this is the national resources. International resources nothing but which are actually controlled by international resources, international people. For example, there is actually will actually come to international, I explain. Okay, now, till that time don't worry. Then based on the development status, means nothing but whether we can actually extract those kind of resources presently. Do we have the technology in order to extract those kind of resources? Based on that, they are being transferred as potential, develop, and the reserves. Now let us try to understand them in detail now. Okay. So this table, you can just go through this table so that you'll understand. Nothing much is there to explain that. Okay. Now let us try to understand how based on origin. Sorry. Because this is an updated textbook. Okay, then in this nothing is mentioned, so I'll try to explain everything to you. Okay. So based on origin, so very important thing. So on based on origin, how the resources are actually being classified. So if you see here. Actually want to know if my board is visible. Yes, it might be visible, right? So actually let us try to understand resources, how they are actually classified based on origin. Okay. So based on origin, how we can actually classify. As you all know, we are going to classify into the biotic and the abiotic resources. So what are these biotic and the abiotic resources? Biotic resources are nothing but all the living things will actually come into the picture. The part that is plants, animals, birds, human beings, all these are considered to be the biotic resources. That means all the living things, microorganisms can also be considered biotic, everything. Then abiotic resources. Abiotic resources are nothing but they are not the non-living things. We are here, we're not referring to this kind of a comb, we are not referring to, or whether it is a kind of this or lipsticks or nothing. So here we are mainly going to refer actually about the abiotic resources and nothing but the kind of resources which will actually help in the survival of the biotic resources. Those kind of resources are called as abiotic. It seems confusing, right? But let me give an example. For example, soil, water, air, land, sunlight, all these are considered to be abiotic. Why they are only they are actually considered? Because these resources will actually help us in the survival of these biotic resources. Therefore, those kind of resources which will actually help in the survival of the biotic resources, those are actually kind of called as the abiotic resources. This you must actually try to understand. Okay. Then most important thing. Now I think you got an understanding that what is actually biotic and abiotic. Okay. Now let us try to understand based on exhaustibility. As we have seen there, based on exhaustibility. Exhaustibility is nothing but based on the limitless, based on the exhaustibility. Okay. Based on the quantity, based on how much quantity they are actually available, they are being classified as two types. That is renewable and the non-renewable energy resources. So what are these renewable energy resources? Renewable energy resources are kind of resources which are unlimited in nature. For example, unlimited. For example, if you see the sunlight, that is solar energy that we are actually getting, it is unlimited in nature, right? Yes, it is unlimited in nature. For example, the solar energy, the wind energy, all these are unlimited in nature. And then also they can be renewed, means we can actually renew. They are also completed also. In case if they are completed also, they can easily be bought back also. So if you want them also, you can quickly bring them back. Okay, that means it will take a very short time in order to bring back those kind of resources. Means a short time. In a short time, we can actually get renewed. Okay, they are unlimited in nature. Okay, these are the three important points which you must remember regarding renewable. And this renewable resource, if they ask for 5 more also, you can add few more. They are more environment friendly also. They do not cause any pollution also, and they are also cheap of cost also. Cheap cost. Okay, the cheap cost, all you can mention. Okay, because solar energy and wind energy, they're available readily in the environment, so not much required processing date, and machinery is not required for actually the processing of these resources and everything. And if you see the abiotic non-renewable energy resources, non-renewable energy resources are limited in nature. Why they are limited in nature? If you see the examples like petrol and diesel, can we have petrol and diesel limitless in our environment? No, we cannot have limitless. There is actually some quantity which is actually available. Only up to that quantity we can actually get. Beyond that we cannot get these resources, that is the non-renewable energy resources. Okay. And for example, petrol, diesel and everything, we are only available in a certain quantity. Okay, they are not unlimited in the nature. Only in a certain level only they are actually present. Only in some countries only. It is not available in all the countries. Whereas solar and wind energy are mostly available in all the countries also. Okay, and these actually take a longer time to get renewed also. For example, if a thing that petrol resources got completed. Now they'll actually take some millions of years. How this petrol and everything is formed? Because of the fossil fuels, because of the compression under the earth, they are actually being formed. So this compression actually takes some millions of years to form, because of which it will take a longer time also. This is taking a longer time to get renewed also. They are not environment friendly also. If you see petrol also, is it environment friendly? It is causing pollution. It is air pollution is actually causing non-renewable energy resources. Therefore, how we can actually say that these are environment friendly? So they are not environment friendly, not eco good products, and they also have a very high cost also. Sometimes, for example, if it is available in the large quantities, for example, you may ask this question, like the Middle East countries like UAE, that is Dubai, all these countries are actually becoming rich. Those have a lot of resources, because they are actually having a lot of resources, because of which they are becoming more powerful. If there is only little resources and more machineries is actually required, means there will be no cost. Therefore, the more costs are also required for this production, for the setting up of those kind of industries. Also, it takes a lot of money. So, if only more resources above a certain level, they are actually formed, then you can actually tell. Then you can easily extract. Okay, this you must remember. Okay. Then now let us try to understand based on the ownership. So based on the ownership, as I already told you, ownership, they have been classified as individual resources. As I told you, all the things that we actually own. In the rural areas, if you see that all the individual resources in the rural areas, if you see the the rural areas, the plots, the farming lands which we actually own, the wells, all these are considered in the rural areas. Wells and everything are considered to be individual resources. And also in urban areas, so all the buildings, apartments are considered to be the resources. They are very important resources. Okay. Now in the community resources, as I already told you, community resources are kind of resources wherein they are owned by the entire community of the particular region. For example, all the burial grounds. Bury. Burial grounds. Sorry. Forgot. All the playgrounds, parks, then many other things, grazing ground, not grazing grounds, hospitals also can be considered. Burial grounds, okay, BURL, just a forward, okay. Then most important thing, that is the national resources. So national resources is nothing but the resources are actually under the control of the government. So if they want to construct any buildings or any other things also, they can immediately get land from the individual people also, and they can easily construct those kind of resources. That is the national resources. Okay, these are not given in your textbook. I request you all to please make a note of it. Burial. So burial spelling I wrote here. BURRIAL. And the fourth important thing is the international resources. What are actually these international resources? International resources are nothing but they are, and also forgot to mention, the national resources, all the national resources, in that national resources only. For example, you think this is a country. In the country, around that country, that means around the country, that is still 12 nautical miles. 12 nautical miles is nothing but 1 mile is equal to, right. So 1 mile is actually equal to around 1.6 kilometer. So around the 12 nautical miles region. So 12 till 12 miles region. Sorry. Okay, till 12 miles region, the entire resources is actually found from the coastal region. So I forgot to say, from the coastal areas till 12 nautical miles. So around that respective country, they can all the resources which are actually found from the coastal areas to the 12 nautical miles, 12 miles, all these can be used by that particular country, okay, for the development of that particular country. For example, if you see, if the country's border is here, that means coastal line is here. From coastal line, I'm saying about the sea border. So if they want to extract any resources, then what is actually the limit? If they're from 12 nautical miles to, from coastal areas, that is coastal areas, to 12 nautical miles, whatever, all these resources, 12 miles, which are all the resources which are actually found, those kind of resources can be used by the respective country, that is natural resources only. Then now let us try to understand international economic, exclusive economic zone. Exclusive economic zone is more than 200 nautical miles from respective countries' coastal line. If you see, this is 12 nautical miles. If you see, this is country's border from coastal line. So till 12 nautical miles, all the resources cannot be used by any country. For example, okay, we can actually tell from here 12 nautical miles to till 200 nautical miles, still in that region. So beyond 12 nautical miles, any country cannot actually use them. So if they actually want to use any kind of resources beyond the 12 nautical miles, then they must actually consult the international leaders. International people, they should consult, then only they can actually extract those kind of resources. That is called as exclusive economic zone. That is beyond 200 nautical miles, the oceanic area beyond the 200 nautical miles from respective countries' coastal line, that is called as exclusive economic zone. That is very much important. Okay, then based on the development status. So based on the development status, for example, if you see based on the development status, how they're actually divided. So based on the development, first the potential resources. Potential resources are kind of resources wherein, see, in the potential resources, because of the lack of the financial fund, they're actually not extracted presently. Okay, what happened? If you see in states like Gujarat and in the states like Rajasthan also, presently they have all the kind of resources, that is solar and wind energy is most available in those kind of areas. But because of the lack of technology, they're not been extracted properly. So that is the main problem in those kind of areas. So that is because of the lack of technology, they're not been extracted presently. Otherwise, they can actually extract because of lack of financial funds also, they're not extracted. So those kind of resources wherein the resources are actually found in a particular country or a state, but they, because of the lack of financial fund, they're not been extracted. So those kind of resources are called as potential resources, wherein they have the potentiality, means they have a capability in order to give the resources, but because of the lack of financial fund, they're not, because of the lack of financial resources. Finance, they're not extracted. Okay, for example, in the states like Gujarat, you can mention Gujarat, Rajasthan, all these now resources, solar and wind energy, which are actually found, solar and wind energy, which are actually found. Okay, then second most important thing is the potential resources. Then we have developed resources. Developed resources means a kind of resources wherein their quality, quantity had actually been examined and they're actually extracted presently also. For example, the different kind of resources which are actually available in a country, then they're extracted. So they are extracted also. These resources are extracted. So we actually know about their development status also. That means we also know about their quantity, how much quantity they're actually known also. We actually know. Whereas potential resources, they're not extracted presently, whereas these are extracted. Third most important thing is a stock. The stock is nothing but. So actually stock is nothing. What is actually happening in the stock is that, because see, the resources can actually be utilized in the present generations, but because of the lack of technology, they're not being utilized presently. Okay, that is actually called as stock. Because of the lack of technology, lack of machinery, they're not being utilized presently. For example, if the one textbook example is given, this H2 also. H2 is actually, so this is water molecule. So from this we can actually separate hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. But this can be used for various, hydrogen gas can be used for various things, and oxygen gas can be also used for various things. So we don't know how to extract that, we don't know how to process that, we don't know how to actually bring out the hydrogen gas and oxygen gas from the water molecule. So that process till that machinery did not come till now. So that kind of resource where the resources where they actually help in satisfying of the human needs, but they do not have the technology to extract them, are called as the stock resources. And if you have the next thing, that is reserves. So reserves are nothing but these are also a subset of stock. Subset of stock is nothing but they are also under the stock only. So because of some lack of technological things, lack of institutional things, also they are not being extracted. So these are considered to be the different development stages. Based on different development status, how they are actually being classified. Okay, this you must try to understand. Next, let me share the screen again. Okay, so this you must understand. I don't know why they actually removed this. I think this is updated text, rationalized text. You see the old textbook. Yeah, let us not waste time in doing that. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay. Now let us try to understand the development of resources. How the development of the resources is actually happening in different countries. Okay, that is not, we are mainly going to focus. We are mainly going to focus about the different development status of the resources. Okay, for example, if you see the development of the resource, what is actually development? Development of the resources are nothing but the importance, the importance is actually growing very much for the resources. So there is always a greater demand for the resources in the markets also, because they are very much important, and they are very important, vital. They are also very much important, vital, and without them the life is nothing for the human beings. So resources are actually the life of human beings. So without that we cannot imagine the life we can't live. Therefore these kind of resources are very much important in our society, in our life, for the survival of the human beings also. These resources are very much important. But what is actually happening to all these resources? Do you think all the resources actually are actually available in the larger quantities? No, they are not available in the larger quantities. Because of the greed of the human beings, greed of the certain classes of the people, greed of the certain sections of the people, the resources are being getting depleted. Because for example, the rich person, if you see any person, also rich person will always become a rich, the poor person will always become poor. Why that situation is actually happening? Why it is happening? Because the resources are not getting any, because of which they are not extracting any resources. That is what we can actually see from this. Okay, the rich people will always become rich, poor people are always becoming poor. So it is actually dividing the society also, wherein the people, it is actually dividing the society based on haves and have-nots. Haves and have-nots are nothing but who are actually having the resources and who are actually not having the resources. So this is a very, very important thing. We have to actually change the mindset of the people also in the process of this is extraction of the resources. Okay, we must not be greedy, because these resources are not available only for us. These resources are not available only for certain classes of the people, they are available to everyone. So they must be also utilized by everyone. Not that only a few sections of the people will have the right to extract these resources. Everyone should be given a chance in order to have all the resources. That is very much important, that we must actually focus on. Okay, and the resources are actually, so what is happening, so because of that only, because of depletion, because of the satisfying of the greed of few people only, it is causing the it is dividing the society into haves and have nots. In the similar way, it is also depleting, or it is also causing the air pollution, or if, as you know, many air pollution, many land pollution, many water pollution, all these because of the production of the raw materials. For example, if you say plastics, so why plastics are actually being produced, we do not know, because plastics actually have a greater use, but they have very much greater disadvantage. They cause a lot of air, water, land pollutions as well. But still, the production of the plastic is still going on. So therefore, this is actually causing the it is causing the ecological imbalance also. Why it is causing ecological imbalance? Because ozone layer depletion is happening, because of which the CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons, which are actually released from the air conditioners, from the factories and everywhere, aerosols and everything. So this is actually damaging the ozone layer, causing the pollution, different kind of pollutions at different levels also. And we are also trying to see the global warming, the increasing of the global gas, global warming. I'm not getting that. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, all these important gases are actually being released into the atmosphere. These are actually causing the depletion of the resources, as well as they are actually causing the environment to, they are actually destroying the environment also. So therefore, we must always keep in mind that we are actually using the resources more judiciously, more carefully, more properly, so that we can actually save them for the future generations, also presently also may not, so that we can actually have them presently also. We can also extract them presently. That is what we are going to understand. Okay. So therefore, an equitable distribution of resources has actually become essential for the sustainable quality of life and the global peace. So if the resource trend, if the present trend will actually go on to continue for a few individuals and the countries, then the future of our planet is in danger. Why it is in the danger? Because it is the life of our planet will become so much danger. The future generation, that is our children, our future children, their grandchildren, will not have any resources to experience. So then how they are actually going to experience that life? That we actually do not know. So therefore, we should always have an equitable distribution. Means we are also going to use the present. We are first. Let's think practically. We will also use the resources, and then we must also save them for the future generations. And how we should use them judiciously and wisely. We will not just waste them just like that. We are also going to use them properly. Okay. Okay. The meeting will end in 10 minutes, and after that again we'll you just join and we'll complete this. Okay. 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 Sorry, not on live only. No. Therefore, a sustainable development. What is actually the sustainable development? Therefore, you should always follow the sustainability. What is actually the sustainability? Is nothing but using of the resources judiciously, wisely, without causing any harm to the environment, and saving them for the future generations is called as sustainability. Very important definition from the board exam point of view. Economics also this is there. So this is very much important, which you must remember actually. Okay. That will actually try to understand. Sustainable definition is given. Okay. Then what was a Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit? So Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit is nothing but many Earth leaders. So many leaders have actually met together in this place, that is Rio de Janeiro. This was a place. This is actually a place in Brazil. So why they actually met together? In order to address the International Earth Summit, for the first International Earth Summit. So why they actually met together? Because in order to discuss the world environmental problems which are actually causing. So in order to protect all our environment. So in order to protect our environment, in order to save our environment from all these industrial growth, industrial pollution also, all these people have actually met together in 1992 in Brazil. Okay. So what was the main aim? The main aim was to solve the problems of the environment, and the socio-economic, and also helping the socio-economic development at the global level also. So for that, what they actually done, they have actually signed together. All the people have actually to adopt an Agenda 21. So what this Agenda 21 is mainly focusing about? This Agenda 21 is mainly focusing about the people. So it is mainly focusing about the achieving the global sustainability. What is that global sustainability? Global sustainability is something. So first we have all these SDGs, like the such sustainable development goals, which we must actually achieve by 2030. So we're actually getting near to it. We are now in 2023. Do you think that in these 7 years can we actually achieve all these 17 SDGs, 17 sustainable development goals? That is right to education. There are many things like protecting our environment, climatic conditions, then no poverty, then providing all healthcare facilities to the people also. So all this can be actually achieved. So when we actually work together in a society, when all the people become educated, when all the people become educated, when all the people actually get job opportunities, then only. So first important thing is that first we should actually raise awareness, as it seems like less it seems like a common option, but this is the only way we can actually help in creating and saving the environment also. We can actually create a safe environment also, okay, which is away from pollution and everything. Okay, awareness must be created among the people also. So what actually this agenda 21 will actually bring you? So this agenda 21 will actually make sure that with this will combat, this will actually fight against the environmental damage, the poverty, that is disease, and for all the interests of the people. And it also makes sure that it also takes care about the environmental problems and everything. Okay, that is achieving the global sustainability. Okay, then and the importance of this agenda 21 is, agenda 21 was that every local government should have its own agenda 21. Why it should have its own? Because the local government, see, everything cannot be common for everything. For example, one reading strategy, one timetable strategy is not available, not applicable, is not suitable, and not suitable for all the kind of people, right? Each one is having its own problems, each one is having their own interests, their own own kind of interests, their own kind of capabilities also. So in the similar way, agenda 21 also is the mainly focus is to have the local government should have its own agenda 21, so that because in the local government bodies also, each one will have its own they have a greater understanding of their problems also. They actually know how to solve the problem also. So by creating their own local agenda 21, they can easily solve the problems also. Okay, and one more important thing is that one common thing which is actually adopted also cannot be more applicable to all the people. This, for example, some certain rules which must be followed. If actually they give this agenda 21 that together they have to follow, means it becomes difficult for the people in order to understand them also, in order to follow them also. Therefore, this is the best way in which people can also become aware. They also get to know about what are the problems that are being faced in the local government, what are actually the problems which are faced by the people also. So that will actually make it try to understand from this. Now let us try to understand what is actually this resource planning. Very much important from the examination point of view. Definitely one question will actually come in this resource planning. So resource planning is nothing but the using of the resources judiciously and saving it for the future generations. It's called as resource planning. That's it. Resource planning is actually very much important for the present day generation. Why it is very much important? Because, for example, if you see, resource planning means you have to plan the resources in such a way that we are actually going to help the states and the countries which are in the deficit of the resources. For example, in the A country, some surplus resources, actually surplus is nothing but in which more, for example, surplus is nothing but when you need 10 kgs of rice, but you got 50 kgs of rice. So that 40 kgs of rice which is left is considered to be surplus. Then you can actually sell it to the other countries where there is a deficit. Deficit is a kind of condition wherein they're actually not getting any rice resources only. This means, for example, if you see B condition also, they also need 10 kgs of rice. But are they getting? They are getting only 5 kgs of rice. So they are actually going to sell to this country. So in this country, in that process only, A country will be benefited and B country will also be benefited, right? Both the ways. Okay. And in a similar way, if B country is having anything more surplus, then they can actually sell to A. So there is always a mutual, and this also creates a better understanding also. It also creates a better communication also between the countries also. Therefore, the resource planning is actually very much important. So why? Because why we actually the resource planning is important because, for example, few resources are actually found in certain regions. Okay. The resources which are available in the larger quantities in the respective regions, they can actually export to other regions, and in which for example, A, as I already told you, A is actually having more of the one resource. They can actually sell it to B. Then A is actually having a deficit of one resources. Then it can actually take from B. So there is always a mutual understanding between all those both people. So that is very much important, because in all that, one thing we should understand that not all the resources are actually found in every region. For example, if you take in any region also, not everything is not available. Everything, we cannot say that this kind of region, this particular region on our planet Earth is having suitable, it is having a perfect condition, or it is having everything, all the resources are found. We cannot tell that, because nothing, in no region on our entire planet is having all our resources at once. Therefore, there should always be mutual understanding between the countries, which will actually help in the resource planning. That is, which actually helps in balancing of the resources. So balancing is very much important for the resource planning. That will actually try to understand. Okay. For example, now let us take the examples here. They have given some examples also. If you see the states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and everything, they are rich in coal deposits, so that they can actually export to the other countries. So they will gain profits, and also the states which is in the need of this coal deposits will also benefit. So this is very much important. Good point. Then, for example, Arunachal Pradesh is having a larger abundance of the water resources. It is mainly lacking in the infrastructure development. You can actually take from a country and a state which is having better infrastructure development. In return, it can actually give the water resources, and we can actually and in return it also can make sure with the help of this water resource, you can give electricity also. We can also generate electricity from water. So there should always be a balance which must be created between the states, which is very much important. And also try to understand the states like Rajasthan having a greater amount of solar and wind energy, but lacks in the water resources. So these both countries can also have a combination, but that is not possible because Rajasthan is not okay. Then if you see the cold desert of Ladakh also, it is having greater tourism resources also, but it is mainly lacking in the infrastructure development and the economic development also. So you can also try to get it from the countries where it was having more. This balance actually should be created between the countries, so that this actually helping the easier economic development also make sure that actually improves the life of the people also. Therefore, this is very much important. This process is very much important. Okay. So we will quickly complete this, and we'll also go to before we actually take a soils, we'll take a break. Okay. And try to see if actually we can do the resource planning also. So what is actually resource planning? Resource planning is nothing but using, as I already told you, you can write the definition, using of the resources judiciously and saving them for the future generations, called as resource planning. So there are different processes which actually involve. So the first important process is the identification of the resources. And so first we have to identify how much resources actually being found in a particular region. What is the quantity of the resource? What is the quality also? For example, in a different kind of iron ore also, we have different kinds. For example, magnetite is there. Okay, forgot that meeting ended. So magnetite is a different kind of iron ore which is actually found. Then we also have hematite, which is a low quality of the iron ore. So we must actually understand what is the quality of the iron ore, because that will actually help us in increasing the cost of the production. Also, it helps in the knowing about the profits also. This is very much important. First step which actually involves is the identification. So this identification process mainly involves knowing about the quality, quantity, till which area these resources are actually found. Everything is mainly done in this process of identification. So the second most important thing is the extraction of the resources. This extraction of the resources are nothing. We are trying to extract the resources with the help of knowledge, skill of the human beings, and with the help of technology also. We are going to try to extract these resources. And you're also with the help of all these institutions and everything, you are going to extract the resources. That is the second process. First you have to identify, next you have to extract also. No. The third most important thing is matching the resource development plans with the overall national development plans. Now, that means we have to also include all the costs. We must actually know about the different financial resources which are actually required for the extraction process and everything. So therefore we are actually trying to we are actually going to see the resource development plans with the overall national development plans. The financial fund which is actually required for it and everything we are going to see in that process. Okay. Now let us try to see the India has actually mainly concentrated about achieving. So in the first 5-year plan also, many plans were actually brought out for the resource planning. So then let us try to understand the availability of the resources. Availability of the resources in a particular country is very much important. For example, if you see any country also, availability of the resources will actually make the country more developed also. And sometimes what happens is that some kind of states and countries will have more resources also. They're having more resources, but still they are not developed also. For example, Rajasthan and Gujarat, they are having more states, more resources, but they lack in the financial and the infrastructure development, because of which they are still developing. Okay, so that we can actually see, but the mere availability of the resources will actually not help in the development process. So both the technology and the institutions should also support in the process. See, as I already told you, there is always a triangle as you see here. Okay, there is always this triangle wherein these three are interdependent, interlinked to each other. If one is also missing in that, then the resources will not become useful. That we can actually that we will also try to understand. And on the contrary, also they are actually become economically backward regions only, though they have very much large resources also. Okay, but if you see, that is one situation. Whereas there are some countries also without the resources also they are actually became more developed also. Which regions? For example, if you say Japan and Singapore, these both are very small countries, but they have a huge population. Not huge population, I don't say, but they have a say, even though they are actually considered to be very small countries also, they actually became more powerful in terms of the economic development. How they actually became in the so as you already know that, see, as you know that triangle, so each thing is very much important. Then only we can actually become economically developed. Then how Japan and actually Singapore, with the help of anything, with the help of any resources, how they actually economically grow? Because they actually grew economically because they have invested in the human resources. So human resources is also very much important. So people can must actually they should get an awareness that human resources will also bring out much greater returns also. For example, investing in healthcare facilities, investing in education, investing in the training of the people, this will actually make people more advanced, and you also get the skilled labor also. There is always a very much important thing that skilled labor will always have more value in a society also. If you see a skilled and unskilled labor, a skilled labor is the one who will actually earn more also. He'll actually earn more because of the kind of qualities and capabilities he's actually having, with the kind of degrees he's actually holding in a society, with the kind of what will say, all the things which he have, the skilled labor, with all the kind of training that he's actually having, he will actually earn more. He'll also help in the economic development of the country also. So in the similar, therefore, human resources are also very much important. This is not given here, but I'm actually trying to tell you about it. Okay. Now let us try to understand what is actually the history of colonization. So the history of colonization actually shows that the foreign traders are actually more powerful. They had more technology. They had more economic status also was more for them. Their what we can say, technology was more. Institutions are also more. So because of which only they are able to because they actually became more dominant and superior over our country, and they also started to extract all the resources, exploit all the resources only because they were able to have more power. They are able to have more better technology as compared to ours. So that is, therefore, technology also plays a very much important role in the extraction process of the resources. So what we actually try to understand, the nature, technology and institution, these are interlinked to each other. One is missing also, you cannot extract the resources. And I don't say that we cannot become economically developed without these three things. We can also become economically developed, as you can see the situation of Japan and Singapore. But in a country like India, this process is not going to be easy. For a country like India with a large population also, this is not going to be an easy task. So we must actually, it takes a longer time for us in order to adapt to all this kind of things also. So, but actually I'm very glad to say that many resources, many plans, many things are actually being brought up by each and every government, state governments. Okay, many policies are also brought up by the people, bought by the state governments and central governments of the people. Many policies, for example, CBSE, Central Board of Secondary Education. CBSE is actually also building many policies also. For example, we have actually bought in many skill projects. It is actually bringing out for the people, for the parents also. It is also bringing out, so that this also makes them more economically. This also increases the economic development, and apart from that, this also makes people independent of themselves. It is always important that we must be independent for ourselves, like we must actually earn for ourselves and everything. We should have their own life and everything. So by bringing us all these kind of policies, that actually the CBSE and all the governments are actually trying very hard in order to bring out different kind of policies also. They're also trying to bring out these policies so that our skilled population is also increasing very much rapidly, and unskilled labor population is decreasing very much. Okay, that we can understand. Then what is the conservation of the resources? As you all know, resources are very much important. So therefore, the resource conservation is also very much important, because this resource conservation is important because in the form of in terms of the economic in the terms of the environmental and as well as the economic development. Also resource conservation of resources is very important, because resources only will actually help in the economic development, and resources will also help in the solving the environmental problems. As I already told, ozone layer depletion, they are all caused only because of the depletion of the resource, only because of the less resources that are actually found. Because of that only they're getting which environmental problems are causing. So therefore we must actually come out with some new processes that this environment conservation this thing of environmental problems and everything can be solved. And during that time, Gandhiji was one of the very important, and he was very apt. He was very much sure. He was very much brave in order to voice his opinions about the resource conservation also. So what he actually said, that there is actually enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's need. He's saying that we are all having all the resources for everybody's need and not for anybody's need. Not for anybody's need is greedy. Greed is nothing but some people, few sections of the people are trying to greedy people and selfish people trying to get more resources and more power and more money. So Mahatma Gandhi is telling that every resources are actually available in the environment, so that they can be utilized by every person, and not that only few sections of the people will have the right to use the resources. Okay, so it is that every person will actually have the right, every person will actually is having the right to use the resources more judicious, to use the resources now, and not that only few people will actually have the right to use the resources, and they only become more powerful, and they only become more rich. Every person is actually having a chance. Every person must be given a chance in order to become rich. Not only rich, in order to experience all those resources also. He also tells that the greedy and the selfish motives of the people action and the modern technology has been the main cause for the resource depletion. He was also against the mass production, and also he was against mass production and wanted to replace with the production by the masses. So what is actually the main difference? Mass production and production by the masses. So try to comment down. I'll try to explain it in the next video. Okay. Then the land resources. So there are different land resources which are actually available in our country. For example, plateaus are available, mountains are available, and plains are also. Plains will actually help us in the agricultural process also. For agricultural development, for growing of crops and the farming purpose, these plains are very much important. For example, mountains will actually ensure the perennial flow of the rivers. They also ensure some kind of tourism also. This kind of things also, they actually help in mountains and everything. And if you just understand that 43% are the plains, then 27% are the plateaus, and 30% are the mountains. And plateaus will also help in the rich reserves and fossil fuels and forests. Just you can geography, just you can understand this. There is a lot much to remember. So just if you read it, just understand. So what land utilization, how the land is actually utilized, how the land is used for various purposes. First important thing is land is used for the forest. So under forest also land is actually covered with the most of the forest also. Okay, and land is not available for cultivation. So the lands which are not available for the cultivation, there are two types of land, that is barren and the wasteland. So this barren and the wasteland are nothing but which the crops cannot be grown in that, because of the droughts or because of the lack of fertility or because of the extreme hot weather conditions. Also the land becomes barren, which cannot be utilized. And the land which is actually put to non-agriculture uses in the sense for building roads, factories and everything. Okay, then other uncultivated land, the permanent pastures and grazing lands will actually come. Then uncultivated lands, permanent pastures and grazing lands, then land under the miscellaneous purposes like tree crops, groves and everything. Then the cultivable land is a kind of land which is left uncultivated for more than 5 years. So if a land is actually this very much important, cultivable land, other than fallow land, current fallow, very much important. Sorry, one question we can expect. Cultivable land, a land which is left uncultivated for more than 5 years. Then current fallow land which is left uncultivated for more than 1 year or less than 1 year. Okay. Then other than current fallow lands means a land which is left uncultivated from between 1 to 5 years. So first you can just remember current fallow, then other than current fallow, then cultivable. Your choice. You can look at current, other than, then cultivable. Okay. Then the net zone area. Net zone area is nothing but it also shows up the physical extent about on which how the crops have been sown, harvested is known as the net zone area. So the area zone. So the area zone is more than one zone in agriculture area plus the net zone area is considered to be the grass cropped area. Okay, now let us see the land use patterns. Land use patterns is nothing but, so how is actually land is becoming more important because of the topography. Topography is nothing, the kind of texture of the soil also, the kind of climate, soil types of different types of soils, and different types of soils, the density of the soil, the technological capability and culture, the traditions of the people, and all these things are actually making the land use patterns more important also. The population is also increasing because of this. So just you can increase, try to understand also from this. This actually shows that 1960, 61 and 2014 15 the percentages is how much land is actually available. There is not much difference if you see, but the red color one, the barren uncultivable land is actually increasing. Means the land which is not used for anything is actually been increasing more. And if you see blue color one, the forest land is also trying to increase more, I guess. The forest, the colors are not up to the mark. Mostly the questions will not be asked on this because this is a color based picture. So mostly the questions are not asked for this. Okay, the total geographical area of India is 3.28 million square kilometers. Just you can remember this. 93% of the total geographical area, so only the 93% of the total geographical areas has been surveyed and has been known. But in some part of regions like in Jammu and Kashmir, some part is under China and some part is under Pakistan, and in northeastern states also some part states have been not known except Assam, because Assam is a kind of a more known state. Except Assam, other states information is not known much. Okay, then I can also see. Then if you try to see here, over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana is actually used for the agriculture purpose, but only 10% is actually used in Arunachal Pradesh. Why? Because first thing which actually we can tell is that there was a greater development in the agriculture sector in Punjab and Haryana. This is because we can actually tell this because of the Green Revolution, which was actually brought out in 1970s, which by Norman Borlaug. So here was a person, as you learned in the previous class, about the high yielding variety of seeds and about the greater machinery also. All is actually helped increasing more agriculture production because of that only. And this was actually mainly this green revolution was mainly popularized in only these kind of northern states like Punjab and Haryana and Uttar Pradesh only. So because of which 80% of the total land is actually cultivated. But example in the states like, and climatic conditions also play very important. Climatic conditions, the soil type also play very important role. But in Arunachal Pradesh, it is in a hilly region mostly. So it becomes unsuitable for the cultivation of the crops. Therefore, only less than 10% of the land is actually used for cultivation purpose. So according to the National Forest Policy, 33% of the entire country's land must be covered with the forest. But how much we are actually having? Let us try to see what percentage of forests see, North America only about 30% of the world. Entire North America we are mainly talking about. India will see. See, only 24%. That is very much less. It should be 33%. In the African countries, actually it is 33%. But in our country, it is only 24%. Which you must remember. Okay, this will also help in adding a good points to your answer also. Then, so all these things, so just you can just understand them. So because of all the kind of human activities, only this is actually happening. So for example, the land degradation. Why the land degradation is actually occurring? How the land pollution is actually mainly occurring because of the releasing of the industrial effluents into the soil also. This is actually making the soil infertile for the growing of crops and everything. Therefore, because of that only, the land is not utilized. So this soil will actually make it in another part. Okay, so till all this part will actually end the video till here. Okay, this till land degradation and soil as a resource and different soil types, we'll make it a very short video about it. Okay, Then a part of the land is also termed as a wasteland, and it is also put for the non-agricultural barren land, which is cultivable land other than fallow land. Then many other different current fallow land, all these things. Okay. And because of everything, because of all the land pollution and everything, the land is not utilized properly, and because of which this is actually causing the land degradation, also destroying of the forest. The deforestation is also causing the reducing of the forest area, as well as for the also causing the land degradation, that is land pollution also it is causing. Okay, now let us see what are the land degradation and conservation measures. So land degradation and conservation measures are nothing but, so these actually will help in. So let us try to understand what are the land degradation, what are the main causes of the land degradation methods, and let us try to see how we can actually rectify them also. Okay, first important thing is the overgrazing of the land. So if you see in our if you see, the overgrazing of the land has been one of the most important problems, like in the states like Maharashtra, like in the states like, as you can see here, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh. The main reason for the land degradation is because of the overgrazing, because overgrazing of the animals, overgrazing of the different kind of things also, this overgrazing is actually occurring. Okay, so because of that only it is actually causing land degradation. Then mining also. So mining sites are actually being abandoned after the excavation sites. After excavation, for example, so after they so what they'll do for mining. So for mining, first they'll try to cut the trees around that area. They'll try to build the roads, they'll try to build the industries around that particular area. So first thing, it is causing the deforestation of the trees. Next thing, it is actually killing the wildlife also, because all the trees, all the insects, all the birds will actually live on the trees also. It is actually killing the wildlife. Second thing. The third important thing, it is causing, and after the, okay fine, they have left, they have done the mining. Are they going to do anything after that? No, they're going to leave the areas just like that. They are actually leaving the deep scars, deep holes like that only, and they are just leaving and they're moving out of the areas. So how this is a major cause of the land degradation. And one more important thing is the releasing of industrial effluents to the soil also causes land pollution. And during that time only, irrigation also, over irrigation also makes soil infertile for growing of the crops. That is mainly seen in the states of Punjab, Haryana, where green revolution is more popular, that is Uttar Pradesh also. And cement industry also. So when we actually grind the limestone, it actually releases a lot of gas, lot of powder into the atmosphere. This is actually settling on the soil, and this is causing soil, making the soil infertile also. So the process filtration of the soil, and after it settles on the land and becomes infertile also. As I already told, industrial effluents also. How we can actually avoid this? So we can actually avoid this by afforestation process, then we having control of the mining activities, then stop preventing the overgrazing of land, the stabilization of the sand dunes, planting of the shelter belts, then proper management of wastelands, controlling mining activities, proper disposal of the industrial effluents, and everything must be done in order to reduce the land degradation. Okay. Now soil as a resource also we are going to see, but before that I think we can see if we can complete that soil as a resource, right? We have to try to complete this video only. I think it will become 1 hour. So I'll try to make a short, very soils video so that I can just refer it quickly. Okay. So till here I actually end the video, and from that you can actually refer the entire thing. Okay. So soil video I'm actually ending here. So soils you are going to see in the next video. That is, just now after this video ends, I'll start another video live. Okay. So just you need not worry about it. So this soils was a very simple part, just you have to remember all the important things. Geography is very simple to understand.